Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to the Top Flight Pod. You know what it is. You know what we're here to do. We're back in studio today. Beautiful Austin, Texas. I'm with the boys. We got Logan, Verde Nation here to my left. We got Bali, ATX here to my right. A lot of people are looking for you, mate. And we got B off the mic, off camera, on the ones and twos, controlling everything that's going on behind the scenes. He has the Portugal versus Spain final on for us right now here in the studio. We're watching it. Massive game going on there. Ballon de Oro is on the line. GOAT status. Legacy is also on the line for young Cristiano Ronaldo. He's still going. He's 40 years old, still going for those records. Portugal coming close there. But welcome in, everybody. Shout out to all of our Patreon and Discord members. And I'll start off with Bali. How are you doing, mate?
Very happy. Blessed to be here. Ready for another episode. Happy with the win last night. It was a very great result and very happy with the fan base. The fan base happy, so I'm happy.
What do you got to say to the folks that are coming after you for those clips that were posted?
What clips?
About Nico, Open Cup, him being out.
Well, I'm not gonna let a win, just the one win. Just bring my hopes back up. I'm gonna be realistic. It was a great performance, and we move on.
Credit when it's
yeah,
due?
I give him credit.
Okay.
It was a great performance.
That's fair, 100%. Logan, how are you doing, mate? Welcome to the episode.
Yes, sir. Doing good. Happy to be here. I agree. You always want to get 3 points on the road, so definitely a good result. But yeah, lots to get into.
No, in MLS, 3 points on the road, mate. That's huge.
Nico was saying it's the first time he's ever won on the road in Colorado. So
I couldn't believe that, actually.
Yeah, he said it's a hard place to play.
I think he should have kept that one.
He probably should have.
I think Nico should have kept that one. But hey, it is what it is. Congratulations to him for getting this important win for him in a individual level, right? That's what he was hinting at. But also, this is a huge win for the team. They needed it like a cup of water walking through the desert. And we'll get into that here in a little bit. Like I said, shout out to the folks on Patreon. Shout out to the folks on Discord. And yeah. And also shout out to Pepito, our sponsor, Venezuelan
Pepito.
restaurant. A lot of food there. You should go ahead and check them out.
Very good food. Very good.
Yeah, the food looked good on the video.
It was actually really good, mate.
Very good.
I might actually have it after this. So if anybody wants to go with me, we'll see you
We
there.
should go. We should all go.
All right, gentlemen. Now, let's get into the analysis of the final match result. It was a 2-0 for Austin FC. Very convincing scoreline, especially away from home, like I said. But, Bali, what were your initial reactions when the final whistle blew? I mean, 2-0. You had goals from Mikkel, Desler, deflection there. And also Brandon Hines-Ike, a little bit of an own goal situation thing going on there with Navajo. But how'd you see this match?
Well, when I heard the final whistle, I was very happy with the team. 3 points away from home. We love to see it. Very happy with the team all around. I feel like we played very well. The lineup was I love the lineup. Honestly, I feel like we should go on with this lineup from now on. I loved it. I love the pace on the wings. I love John and the attack. I love Bugatti's energy all around the game. But yeah, very happy. Colorado's a very poor side. We did dominate them. They had opportunities, but we took care of business, and that's all that matters at the end of the day.
Now, Colorado, I don't know if you can say that they're a poor or bad side.
They're very poor. They're very poor. Their defense is very poor. I'll tell you that right now.
Push back on that a little bit.
There was multiple passes that were horrible in the back line with them. And we capitalized.
But Bali, you don't think that Colorado also had chances themselves? Stuver had a massive
They
performance.
did. Stuver stepped up again for us. And people were also coming after me for the Stuver. When I criticize Stuver, I criticize him, and when I give him praise, I give him praise. And last night was a great performance by him.
I like that. But I guess we can get into some of these. I guess the lineup topic we can start there tonight. Bali already kind of touched up on it a little bit, and I do have to mention, Logan, this lineup. If you're following it on FootMob throughout the night, it changed 3 or 4 times because when we did the pre-match space, I was reading off on it and I was talking to the people that were listening into the space and I was describing it to them. It was a 4-4-2 on FootMob. MLS Apple TV shows us a 4-2-3-1, and then at the end of the night, FootMob, and still right now at this moment on FootMob, it turned into a 4-4-1-1. So it's very interesting what lineup exactly Austin FC on paper went with. But we saw multiple shapes, multiple structures throughout this match, but they defended in that 4-4-2. They're used to it. We've seen Owen Wolf press and also defend alongside Brandon Vasquez. And I also liked the fact that Dani Pereira and Savovic were always together on that midfield line right in front of those two center backs. Contributed to the clean sheet? Maybe. But what was your thoughts on this overall lineup that Nico put out against Colorado?
Yeah, this one, Nico even has said they're just kind of social construct, right? Just for the fans, just something to look at. So it's kind of hard to say what we exactly had. But I definitely agree with Bali. I like seeing Johnny be able to get on that left wing and part of the attack. I'd love to see that Desler's back. We get to hear that he was kind of on a pre-planned amount of minutes. So, definitely good to know that he put in a decent shift, gets the goal. But overall lineup, I agree. I'm happy with it. We knew Uzuni wasn't going to be here. Vasquez gets a little more space. We don't get really any kind of goals out of him. But overall, I think the lineup was the right lineup. Bukati played a hell of a game. So, yeah, definitely, like I said, I definitely think it was a good choice 11.
Now, Mikkel Desler, his slow return back to 90 minutes, he's not there yet. He tells us post-match, he tells Alex post-match that it was pre-planned, just like Logan said right now, that he was going to get those 60 minutes. And he says that, hey, next week I'll be ready to take on more minutes, probably returning to that 90-minute, Bali. What did you like from Mikkel Desler, kind of focusing on him in that starting 11?
Oh, I loved it. He was all over the place. He was very active, pushing up, being connecting with Buka, So I loved it. I loved him, and we missed him. We really did, and also him coming back, gave the ability for John to go up on the wing, which is it looked dangerous. So I'm very, very happy with it.
You're saying John was dangerous. What did you like about him? Because I was looking at his numbers last night against Colorado, and he was Mr. 100%.
Yeah.
Aerial duels, ground duels, passes completed. They were all in the 100% range. I mean, this guy, not only does he give you shifts on defense, which he was credited by Mikkel Desler saying that he couldn't believe that he was able to keep that level while he was out, but he's also just immediately being plugged into the attack now, and he's able to just turn that chip, just flip a switch, and all of a sudden you have that attacking winger that you were missing for this period of time when Mikkel Desler was hurt. So how did you see Gallagher?
Oh, he amazing. To me, he just see him just push up, being him, because that's in reality, that's John's position, It
is. In reality, it is.
So he feels very, very comfortable there. And as a defender, when you see somebody with John's pace, you're worried because I can't push up. I need to stay back. What gives the ability for the midfield to just open up, and I loved it, man. I feel like it's key, and I feel like I don't know, man. I don't want to put too much pressure, but I feel like that's his spot. And I feel like nobody can take it right now.
Now, I do want to ask you, because I feel like I have you right now on like a reel or whatnot, right? But playing like this, right? You hinted at earlier, it's just one game, and it is just one game, but it's something to definitely build off of, right? When we're talking about El Profe Nico, you've been very critical of him, and rightfully so. Somebody has to be critical of him. You can't just have free hard passes all the time, right? Somebody has to put pressure, and I feel like you fill that role very, very well. But I do want to ask you, with the return of Mikkel Desler, slowly getting back to 90, Dani Pereira looks different than what we were seeing. He looks like he's playing for something else, right? Definitely playing at a very high level right now. And then you also have John Gallagher, who you just gave credit to, saying that that's his spot. Now it's for somebody else to take it away. Playing like this, mate, you think things can kind of turn around for guys like you that are already saying, hey, this season Nico cannot lead this team? If Austin continues to build off of this, is it means for your opinion to maybe change?
Well, it's really odd. It depends on Nico. Is he gonna keep this lineup? Is he gonna make changes? Uzuni's back next week. Is Uzuni gonna start? Is he gonna be on the bench? What's the plan? It's all it's in Nico's hands. He could be successful if he wants. He has everything to be successful here. Okay. It's up to him, honestly.
Now, a little bit of an open-ended question, buddy, but thank you for answering that. I do want to go to my G, Verde Nation ETX. And, talk about Johnny G, right? John Gallagher, Mr. 100%. Accurate passes, 100%. He created one chance. We also have here accurate crosses, 100%. Tackles won, 100%. Ground duels won, 100%. Aerial duels won, 100%. So I just want to get your thoughts on John Gallagher, mate, and what he's been able to bring to the attack in just this game. And if you can touch up on anything that was asked to Maji Bali also.
Yeah, I think Gallagher, like we know that the type of player that he is, and just the amount of minutes he's been putting in, like the amount of work that he gives and dedication to this team. I mean, if there's any question about work ethic or any kind of work rate, I mean, Johnny has it, and to see him be in a position that, like we're mentioning, he's comfortable in a position that he's played in, and he was kind of forced last couple of seasons to be in the defensive line. We see kind of similar situations, but Johnny just being one of those pieces that you can count on him game in, game out. You know what you're going to get from him, and we've seen him score golazos, banger goals too, so we know what kind of a threat he is. But to even see his service, like you're mentioning, the crosses, the vision, I feel like he has a good chemistry with BV too. So just having him up there, I think is going to help us a lot. So whether or not he stays up there, it's like Bali's saying, like Nico has a lot of pieces, and it's just about putting them in the right spots to be successful. So hopefully,
a little bit of an open-ended question here, man. You can answer it when Myrto comes back. I know that Myrto was not here for this match. I know the stats. They don't really favor him when he's not with Austin FC. This is the second time that Austin FC scores more than one goal. This is the second time that they win in this fashion. You don't have Myrto both of those games. So like I said, the numbers, if depending on what numbers you pull up, you can definitely paint a picture that this team is doing better without Myrto Uzuni. But do you buy into that narrative, mate? Because Johnny G shows up, has a good shift or whatnot. Austin wins the game. But there's fans out there that are saying that Myrto Uzuni is holding this team back at that position.
Nah, to me, that's crazy. I think it would be a different story if Uzuni was out and our attack is clicking, BV scoring, the attack just looks, threatening. I mean, let's be honest, like our right back scores and then our center back scores from a set piece. It's kind of an own goal,
It's not kind of. It was an own goal.
Exactly. So, I mean, whether or not that's Usuni's fault, I don't know. Like, if Usuni's here, maybe we get the same result. I don't know. But to say that Usuni's holding us back, I don't agree with it just because the quality of player that he is. Maybe the instructions are unclear. Maybe he's not holding up his end in terms of like executing the game plan. We've heard Stuver kind of mention maybe there's some players who kind of may be doing their own thing. So whether or not it's just a matter of just getting more time, getting more integrated. But
you can't lie though, right? You like the fact that there's competition at that left wing spot.
Absolutely.
John Gallagher has that little fire, man.
Yeah, and to think that John is competing with a quality player from a different league like that, I mean, it just goes to show you're not just going to come into MLS and just get whatever you want.
John is like Goku, man. He's been fighting like all these villains.
Dude.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
there's
shout
a
out
Frieza,
Johnny,
there's a Cell, the androids. You know what I'm saying? Like he's just fighting all these guys.
Yeah.
And just Myrto Uzuni is just the guy that Johnny G has to compete with now.
Yeah, but I still have a lot of hope for Uzuni. I'm going to be really honest. A lot of people, like you're mentioning, I saw some people saying, do we even miss him? Like,
Discord was being disrespectful to
Myrto
Uzuni,
it's pretty
man.
wild.
Bali?
No, but it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. I mean, I feel like to me, as a coach, you have to make those tough decisions. And to me, Nico, to me, you have to bench him. Uzuni, and I said this like a couple weeks ago that Brandon and Uzuni can't play together. It's clear to see.
No.
And one of them has to be benched. And to me, I feel like that's Uzuni. Him coming off the second half, being a second half player would be great for us. He would be good for us. So I think that's the way to go, honestly.
Surely you can make these two guys work. Surely you can make it work.
I don't think it's going to work.
You have to.
But we've seen him rotate too, Bukati. And, so I agree with Bali. I think maybe not necessarily saying that he's hurting, to where we don't need him, but like maybe putting him on the bench. Maybe he's the type of player that responds differently to that. You know what I mean?
The commentators last night, I was watching in English, by the way. Usually I watch it in Spanish. Because they're most of the time they are better quality. They know more about the players, and their analysis of the game is usually better. But against Colorado, I saw the game in English for some reason, and I do got to give those guys credit. They were absolutely informed of what was going on with Austin FC. They knew exactly what form they were coming in. They knew the really the main storylines behind Nico's season so far. I know that we're halfway there, but they knew a lot about this Austin FC side, and I was really enjoying the conversation they were having. And they were also kind of a little bit dogging on Myrto. They were bringing up all these stats about the team being this without him, being that without him, being this and that. And like I said earlier, when we started this little segment, you can paint a picture, right? But it's like a certain narrative. Now, I want to see Myrto come back, and I want to see his response to seeing his family, being with his wife, with his child, with his brother, and seeing what kind of Myrto we get. But I want to talk about another player that had a really good performance today, Brad Stuver. 8.8 match rating. Fantastic performance.
Yeah.
At least 3 goal-saving saves, mate. You got to give him his credit. Your thoughts on Brad Stuver against Colorado? Really a huge factor in the clean sheet and in the win.
Oh, yeah, he had a great performance, honestly. He really did. that one save, the header, it was a great save by him. Great. His reflexes are very, very good. But
The cat Stuver. The
yeah.
cat. The cat Stuver,
yeah,
bro.
yeah. No. No. He played great. Honestly, the Stuber. You have to give him his credit. Yes, he has mistakes, but we know when he performs well for us. So I give him props. It's just sadly that the league doesn't see it that way. He's nowhere near the MLS All-Star list. So kind of sucks.
Well, I mean, we were talking about that on the Spanish part with the guys, Bali, before I go to my J. Logan on Stu. Those are the votes. And I feel like Stuver's own people, his own fans here in Austin, letting him down a bit.
Yeah.
But hopefully with a performance like this, maybe some fans remember, like, hey, I haven't voted for the All-Star. I gotta go vote for Stu. Because I said this also. I was like, of the list that are so far there, of the most vote getters so far, I can agree with most of them except the Dallas goalkeeper. I feel like that's Stuver's spot.
I agree. The Dallas goalkeeper's poor too. So,
but Stuver still has to do his part as well. More performances like this will have more people talking, and hopefully he can make it in time for that All-Star in his own city, in Austin, Texas.
Hopefully, man.
Got to get him there. But Logan, your thoughts on Stuver? Of course, 90 minutes played. 5 saves, XG faced 1.41, saves inside the box. He had 4 of them, 3 diving saves. I also really like that he wasn't afraid to come out and punch balls or even catch them.
Yeah.
I feel like we've seen Stuver maybe
miss
some of those before, some hesitation. How'd you see him?
No, I mean, nothing new at this point. Stuver is going to give you what you need out of him. Like Bali said, maybe he does have a couple of mistakes in him. But again, without Stuver, this game looks a lot different. I think this game, the difference was we capitalized early. We've had a couple of games where we had really early chances and we couldn't capitalize on them. This game is a little bit different. We score in the 6th minute. And from there, we have the momentum. But there's a couple right after that where if Stuver doesn't come up big, they're right back in it. You know what I mean? And I mean, whether or not he'll be an All-Star or deserves to be an All-Star, I think us as Austin FC fans, we've seen enough out of him to maybe think that be the case as Spain scores. Sheesh.
Spain just scored. Go ahead.
But I he doesn't even get shouts for the men's national team, and makes me wonder if he was on a different team, is there less bias? I don't know, but we know what he brings to this team. Like I said, without his big saves, these games are going a lot different. These seasons, these results go a lot different. So shout out to Stuver, man, and what he does for the team.
Now, Stuver, we've always said, this is the first club that really gave him his shot, his chance. He's always been that backup keeper at other clubs where he's been at. Kind of going on to the point that you said, Logan, because he's here in Austin. I'm wondering if Columbus Crew would have ended up giving him his chance, and he would have showed him what kind of keeper he is, because I'm sure he was always this great keeper. He just never got that chance.
Yeah.
I mean, if he had a platform like Columbus Crew, that's an all-star platform.
Yeah. So, again, I don't know if there's any kind of correlation there between Austin FC, but, and we're even seeing less of our players get called up for international duty. So, I don't know. I don't know what goes into that. I don't know what the mood is like around the league, surrounding Austin FC players. So.
Oh, yeah. That's a really good point there. Now,
real
quick, Bali, anything?
No, I'm saying, none of our players deserve it. I mean, none of our players are all-star level players. To be honest, none of them are playing at the all-star level right now.
Stuver.
Barely, we're seeing a little glimpse of it.
Yeah.
But they don't deserve it.
Bukhari?
None of our players deserve it. No, none of our players deserve it.
Okay.
So
all right.
That's the reality.
Now, some quotes here, one from the gaffer, one from Mikkel. Nico says, we needed this week. Truly, we needed a week of work, of training. I believe that we had a very dominant start versus Colorado. Now it's necessary to continue working, continue improving. The gaffer pretty much saying, like, guys, we needed this week to reset, to just recover, to train, to talk tactics. And he said post-match, Alex was sending in some tweets, and I can read some more here. Alex was sending in there's one that Coach Nico said that there was meetings on Thursday and Friday that really, really affected the match on Saturday, and he thinks that it was the meetings that they had those 2 days that was the reason why they won the game away from home Saturday against Colorado. So, Bali, I want your thoughts on Nico, because you were very critical of him, mate.
Yeah.
And Nico comes out, he even says, he was like, look, tonight I don't care about stats. I don't care about stats.
Soccer.
We won the game. This is soccer. Sometimes you get lucky, sometimes you get unlucky. And he was criticized for using those words midweek. I feel like he kind of used that same ideology to kind of fire back, to clap back.
Yeah, he knew he was doing.
So how'd you see it, mate?
Well, he was prepared. He was prepared. I mean, he has to be prepared. He knows that he's doing a poor job here. He knows that it's not good enough. I mean, I'm pretty sure that hopefully Rodo talked to him and had a great talk to him during the week and told him, hey, you need to step it up because the results, the investment that we're making, it's not paying off. So yeah, of course he was. He had meetings. Of course he was studying because he knew that Colorado was a must-win for us away from home. Colorado's a poor side. So you can expose them, and he knew that. So I'm happy for him. Honestly, I am because I don't want anyone to lose their job at the end of the day. But hopefully he improves and keeps it going, man. Who knows? I said that his days are numbered, and I believe that it's still gonna happen.
I mean, technically, everybody's days are numbered, mate. Technically,
no, yeah,
everybody's
of course.
days are
But I'm
numbered.
talking about it in his career here.
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
Are you trying to be funny? Okay,
I'm not trying to be funny.
You trying to just
No, I'm not.
shy away from the situation. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You just know that it was a great performance. We give him his praise, but let's keep it up.
Okay, fair.
keep
I
it
think
up.
it's very fair to
keep it
say. Very, very fair to say.
Keep it
But Logan, same question goes to you, mate. I mean, Nico's kind of saying, "Hey guys, we needed this week, and look what happened." And also, the team looked different. It seemed like they had different air in their lungs. Some guys out there look like they really needed that rest. I mean, Beatles, somebody that we were saying just looked tired recent weeks, had a good game. Right?
Yeah.
How'd you see everything?
Yeah, I mean, I agree the fact that it definitely doesn't help that May was so congested, right? And then you get injuries, and then, that's all part of the game, right? Like he likes to say, it's soccer, it's football. But I think the whole thing for training, I mean, even before May, we had plenty of time to be training. We're 1-9, like if we're being honest. So I'm in the same sense that I don't think one game changes, the mindset that people should have. The fan base kind of go with the wind, right? When we're doing good, vibes are good. When we're doing bad, vibes are bad. But I think looking at it from a holistic, Portugal coming back.
tied it up.
We looking at it
what a
holistic
game.
standpoint, I think it's gonna be a test to Nico. Like we're saying, can he keep it up? Can he continue to build? Can he continue to make the right decisions with the starting 11? Can he, make the decision to bench players that are not performing and actually give time to the players who are? We see Robert Taylor get a couple minutes.
Yep.
I wonder if he's he probably is on like a minutes rotation too, like a set amount of minutes.
100%.
I would love to see more out of him. So it's like Bali said earlier, he has all the pieces to be successful. We want to see him be successful. I don't think any of us just, want him to just be fired just for personal reasons. Like, at the end of the day, we want results. We got to have standards. And, if he's not taking us there, then, what are we doing?
Now, some comments here, some quotes that Alex had posted on social media tagging We're Watching TV. Here, this is from Mikkel Desler. Actually, let me stick to Nico before we go to what Mikkel said after the match. But Nico says, after Wednesday's training, we had a meeting discussing about the training for Thursday and Friday. Those meetings were the keys. They were the right call. So the meetings were actually Wednesday, talking about the trainings for Thursday and Friday. So talking about the meetings that they were having. Also, Nico says that after the pregame meeting, I said a couple of things to the guys, and I think they took it in. All the credit to them for the effort and quality they put in this game. And also, there are things that we did well today that we haven't done in other matches. We knew that in order to win today, we had to be more aggressive. I recognized today that I saw an identity. I saw the players really connected. So there you have it from Coach Nico, really praising his team, right? Really praising his team.
Just a quick question though. Do we remember anything like when Josh Wolf was here about any kind of like meetings? Did he talk about stuff like that? Is that like a thing?
Did Josh?
I
Well,
never.
all these teams have
I would
meetings.
assume, right?
All these teams have
But they
meetings.
never talked about it.
There was an interview. Yeah, they never really talked about it. But there was an interview that Corey Mose did with Bukhari in that meeting room.
Yeah.
There's Verde on the wall. It says Verde and stuff like
yeah.
that. But that's like their like meeting room where they have all the players sitting down and watch film and stuff. They have these meetings.
Yeah, I wonder if
100%.
that. Yeah, I was just wondering if it's something that Nico's directive or he's making an extra point to have these kind of group outing. I think he mentioned too they're going to do some kind of group outing or something. So
They need to.
Chuck E.
They need
Cheese,
to.
Chuck E. Cheese.
They need to.
They should.
Now, let's go over to Mikkel Desler, right? He talks about the goal. He says that he probably stole it, but he couldn't really get out of there. He says that the ball hit him, and it was a deflection. And when it went, and the ball went into the back of the net, that's all that really matters. He also, Mikkel also says that he told Bukhari that his work rate today, especially defensively today, was very good. That obviously makes his job easier. And also Mikkel says that he thinks that everybody was very focused today. They were committed to deliver a solid performance. Getting a point away is always good, but after not getting a win at home, getting a win today away from home was the most important thing. And last thing, he says that it's a big win for him personally, and he's kind of relieved. He's very happy that he felt good out there today. I mean, I'm sure he's more relieved than anything to play 60 minutes and have no injury, come off the pitch, feel good. He's ready to go 90.
There was one ball where it was going out of bounds, and it's very similar to how, because it's a full circle moment for him, because he got hurt in Colorado, and he tried to like kick the ball from going out of bounds, and it was funny because I saw it happen again. I'm like, nah, don't do that. Like, you know what I mean? Because it would have been the same situation where, you hurt your hamstring. But nah, I'm just happy for him, get into, like you're saying, not only get a good shift, but to get a goal out of it, even if it was like,
Should have been Danny's.
Yeah, but...
Nah, it was Danny's goal.
It was Danny's goal.
It was Danny's goal.
And what a nice pass from Bukari.
It was going in regardless, I believe. It just hit Desler, and it just...
Let's talk a little bit about that goal sequence, because you mentioned Bukari. I want to go back a little further and mention Brandon Vasquez, who plays the initial ball over
the top,
the top of, what was his name, Travis County.
Next pro.
Travis whatever. Next pro
left back. Let's not forget that. Like, everybody's talking about how he was, Bukari should be beating a player like that one-on-one.
Next pro. That's
it was a great pass.
No, for seriously.
I like that one. That's a good one. Okay. Brandon Vasquez plays in a beautiful ball to put Bukari into space, which he absolutely loves. Bukari does a nice little cutback, takes the ball into the box, and he plays in a great ball. Danny Pereira hits that ball like, if I must say, Tony Cruz, bro. It kind of reminded me of like Alex Ring.
He's been feeling good. He wants to get them.
Relax.
He's been feeling good. He's been feeling good.
Relax.
But it goes off of Mikkel Desler, Bali.
Yeah.
And Desler is ultimately credited with the goal. Danny Pereira gets the assist. I wish it would have gone the other way, though. Bukari assist, Danny Pereira goal. But the goal sequence, how'd you see it?
Oh, man. Great pass by Brandon. Amazing pass by Brandon. And then great thinking by Bukari, just being focused, slowing down, seeing Danny and giving him a great pass. And great shot by Danny. And I believe it was going to go in regardless, even if it hit Desler. But, I ricocheted Desler and went in. And happy all around, like Desler said, we're just happy that it went in. That's what matters at the end of the day. It's a goal, and we're up 1-0. So it was, at the time, the players look very happy, and I'm happy too, man.
And the second goal, mate, it was an own goal by Navajo. It looked like Brandon Hines-Ike was got a massive header on it.
Yeah.
Like he generated a huge amount of power.
It fooled me.
It fooled me too.
Oh, yeah.
I was like, what? I was like, wow.
Yeah,
Hines-Ike, what a header.
I was like, Hines-Ike, go to another wedding.
I was like, wow. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that wedding situation. When you mentioned it, because I'm over here struggling, the team's over here struggling, and I'm over here a little worried about Hines-Ike. Where is he at? And then finding out that he's in a wedding party.
I got information on that. I got inside information on that. Brandon Hines-Ike had asked permission for this since at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, but then he said that, and I'm like, oh, you know what? It's understandable.
Yeah, but see, that's the thing. You need to also maybe help the fan base communicate these things a little bit. There was no press release, and other teams
on the club side.
Other teams, they address it differently, right, Logan? They say out for personal reasons or whatever.
Not due to injury.
Would have understand 100%. I would have.
Because to me, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little worried on if it was maybe a serious family situation, or maybe he might be out for a couple weeks.
What if he got hurt?
Yeah.
What if he got hurt?
And we were talking about that. We were like CB crisis. You know what I mean? We don't know what's going on. So.
And this club is a little quiet. They don't really like to share a lot of stuff. So but it's okay.
Especially for knowing so far in advance, I feel like the least they could have did was, at least, like you said, put it in the availability report.
On Hines-Ike's game, though, did he look a little shaky?
He did look shaky.
Shaky.
There was one situation where he kind of just missed with the ball, and they took it away from him.
Too cute.
Yeah.
Didn't shield the ball with his body.
Yeah.
The guy just took it from him, man.
Yeah, it was too easy. That was too easy, man. But he was out, so maybe he had a good time at the wedding. Who knows?
I think it was his sister's wedding, if I'm not mistaken. It was
congrats at the end of the day.
Congrats. If he asked for permission at the beginning of the year,
what could we say?
Regardless
of the situation,
families first.
Yeah,
man,
exactly.
I know guys that call into work Tuesday, and Wednesday they can't be there, mate. I know guys. I'm guys.
If you just show up like the week of, and you're like, man, I have a wedding this weekend. I can't make it to the game, But he said, before the season, this date, I'm not gonna be able to
Exactly.
go. My sister. So
And I know folks were very, very upset about
professional.
the situation, but once
yeah,
I
was upset. I'm not
once
lie.
I found out about the permission that was asked months back, I was like, come on, bro. And it's his sister's wedding. Would you
Yeah.
go to
Of course,
family
man.
member's wedding?
Man,
Come on, mate.
I only get married once. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, actually.
Come on.
Hey, but what a response, though.
You
You
made
know
a
what I
couple
mean?
times. Nah, yeah.
Yeah. No, all right. Some comments here from social media on the full-time post on Instagram. We have Elena.atx. She says, we won because of a miracle. And then Walter Drogan, he says, greatest team on the planet. J.N. Devereaux says, we won by more than 1 goal. It's a miracle. Rigo Pinguino says, good win. Lots of room for improvement. Aaron Jimenez says, great team win. I've said it once. I'll say it again. Bukhari and Taylor over Uzuni and Vasquez. They've played a lot better and with more passion than our DPs currently.
Oh, wow.
Great team performance. And then Benjamin Vargas 1991 says, excellent win for our guys. Tonight is what they needed. Next game versus New York. Listos vamos verde. So, and one more. Sancho Moy, he says, look, I'm going to say it. It should have been 4-0. Also, Uzuni being out is not the reason we won either.
Could have been like 4-2. Let's,
Yeah,
I
it
don't
could've
think
been
it
4-2.
should. I don't
Yeah,
think it
yeah.
should have been clean sheet.
If we're going to count hypothetical goals,
Yeah. Like,
Colorado had a couple of those.
Desler saved one too. There was one definitely going in if Desler doesn't
And also,
give.
Brandon missed a lot. Brandon missed a lot, But he had opportunities, which is very, very good. He won't miss that again. I'm telling you. Next day, if he had the same opportunity at Red Bulls, he won't miss it.
Now,
Especially at home.
He'll finish that.
Now, guys, it was a great win in Colorado, right? Of course, the fan base took it well. Everybody woke up in such a good mood, I must say. Ozzy
very
was here
happy.
smiling from ear to ear early in the morning.
Yeah, I heard the
in
Spanish
stew.
pod, and I just, just the conversations that I hear, just
It was great. It was a good pod.
I need to be on the next Spanish pod. Honestly, I need to. There's a lot of stuff that needs to be said in that pod. Honestly,
All right.
You got it, Bali.
Now, what's coming up for Austin FC is what I'm kind of trying to get. What I'm trying to get into. Colorado was great, but it's only 1 win, is what you said earlier. You got to build on it. And I think
we have
Austin
to
FC
build.
could. I really think that they could. But what they have coming up, guys: New York Red Bulls, the Seattle Sounders, LAFC. But that LAFC is in July, so we'll focus just on what's coming up in June. You get through Colorado, you get 3 points to kick off the month. You face New York Red Bulls at home on Saturday. And then you travel to Seattle, whose morale is probably on the floor after what's going on with their ownership and the money, Club World Cup, this and that, right? But I want to ask you guys, and I'll start off with Magic Logan. How many points is Austin FC going to get from the month of June when you have the New York Red Bulls left at home and Seattle Sounders away left?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice that we get the 3 points in Colorado. That's definitely points that, if we would have got 1, that would have been one thing. But to get 3 out of that, that's good. 3 out of 9 so far. I think Red Bulls, obviously the reigning Eastern Conference champions. I don't even remember the last time we played them, how it looked. But I could see us maybe getting...
There's been 1 draw, 1 loss.
1 draw, 1 loss. I'd say 2 more points. I say we draw both games.
Draw both games, Logan. Would that be a successful month of June for you? You would be undefeated.
I think so, yeah.
You would
I
have
think
5 points.
Yeah, I think
out
so.
of 3 games.
And despite everything that's going on in Seattle, that's a quality side too. You know what I mean?
100%.
I don't think the whole thing with the Club World Cup is going to bring them to the point where they're not going to be able to compete. You know what I mean? So I definitely think
They might also want to use you as a prepare.
Exactly.
Get ready.
Yeah.
Or you could
Or
also
where-
face a team that's heavily rotated.
that's true.
Thinking
That's true.
about the Club World Cup.
Yeah.
It is what it is. One thing that we do know is that the morale over there must be low.
Yeah.
It must be low.
Yeah, but we come to find out that there's no excuses against any of these teams. Like we can try to say, anything about anybody being rotated. Vancouver comes and beats us 5-1. So yeah.
And Seattle is a team that has beat us with teenagers.
that's what I was gonna
at
say. It wouldn't
Q2.
be the first time we played them rotated, you know?
exactly.
So,
What was the kid who was 16 years old?
Yeah.
Kid was 16 years old in the midfield for Seattle.
yeah, bro.
Battered us, mate.
Yeah, they're a very good team regardless. Even their bench is good. So.
So Logan, you're going with 5 points?
I would think so, yeah. Well, I would be okay with that. Obviously we get more, great.
Bali, the question goes to you, man. You already got 3 points in the bag. Colorado away. That's a big win. You got to be real. You got New York at home waiting for you. And then you got away Seattle Sounders. How many points is Austin FC going to come back with in this month of June?
I honestly see us getting at least 3 more. I feel like us at home, we just play different, and if we keep this momentum, I feel like we could beat New York. Hopefully Nico keeps the same lineup. I feel like, and I feel like he will because he liked it. He loved the energy by the team, and the fan base loved it too. So I feel like us at home, we're a different beast, and I feel like we could beat them. away against Seattle, that's a very tough in my eyes.
Yeah.
Seattle, regardless, even if they rotate, even a
That's
rotated
true.
team can surprise us, and they're a great team at home. So we'll see. But I feel like 3 points, and I'll take it. Honestly, I'll take it.
Yeah.
Even 3 more points in the bag, I'll take it.
So the
I'll
3
call it.
points you think will be against New York Red Bulls?
At home.
Yes.
At home?
Yeah.
Okay. And
But
then
even a draw against Seattle, I'll take it. If we
Yeah.
go there and we park the bus and we go out with the draw, I'm happy with it.
do you remember when we did the watch party at Casa Colombia and Austin
Oh, yeah.
FC played Seattle? And everybody was hyped up over that draw.
Did we yeah,
no,
yeah.
it was 0-0.
Yeah, it was
but
0-0.
Austin played well.
Yeah.
Remember that they had that?
It was when
Got the
Pochettino was
point.
back.
Was it?
Pochettino had I remember Pochettino had a shot, he had an opportunity, and we were like, oh.
Nick Lima played well that game.
It was
I
a great. It
remember.
was a great game.
It
I
was
remember
a
that
good
game.
But hey, this is a New York Red Bulls that's coming to Q2 on Saturday. They beat Atlanta 2-0 recently. They beat Charlotte 4-2. They've also beat DC United 2-0. They tied against Dallas 2-2. And then their last loss was against New York City FC, a derby for them, 2-0. So this is a team that has had some pretty good results in the last 4 games. Austin doesn't have good results in the last 4 games as well as this New York Red Bull side. And this is a finalist team. This is a team that has been to the MLS final, to the Eastern Conference final, won it. You know what I'm saying? So you got to also respect New York coming into your house. So
yeah.
I don't think it's going to be as easy as some fans think. Just because we won 1 game, we're not going to beat the whole league now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Especially the way we won. It'd be one thing if we're scoring golazos, but I mean, goals
Now-
just kind of went in for us.
Kind of piggying back on this topic, a little bit of a second question. Would you start Myrto Uzuni as soon as he comes back from international duty?
No,
No. Why is that?
I wouldn't start him for. Man, I don't think I'll start him for a while. Honestly, I'll keep the same lineup. I'll rotate him. I'll use him as a second half player. Maybe minute 60, minute 65, and Myrto would come on in my eyes from now on.
I'm going to have to push back on that.
No, you can push back on however you want. At the end of the day, that's how I feel.
I'm going to push
I feel
back
like
on
we
that
play-
in the
we play
sense.
better.
I want to push back on that, maybe, because if we go by data, if we go by what we've
we
seen,
go by data. We can go by data or stats if you want. Because we can go on. 'Cause he's gonna lose at the end of the
if
day.
we go by data,
Okay.
when he went to international duty at the beginning of the season, scored against Andorra, he comes back, he wins you the game against St. Louis, which you said it was a deflected lucky goal or whatnot. I'm wondering what you're calling Mikkel Desler's goal, right? If that's not deflection or lucky, but it still counted, right?
Yeah.
Myrto Uzuni came back, won you the game. Similar effect coming back from international duty. I know that we've been talking about on this podcast for weeks that he needs to see his wife, needs to see that
Yeah.
baby of his that he hasn't even met yet, right?
He did get 2, so that's
Logan,
good.
I mean, do you see what I'm trying to point out
Yeah,
here?
no, I see. I think it does depend on his form. I mean, let's be honest, he didn't start for Albania. He comes off the bench there.
74th minute.
He's going to play against Latvia, right? So I guess it depends on his form coming out of that game. Maybe if he starts or goes full 90 or something, gets a goal. Maybe if you're asking me if I want him to start, I think it would be a good time to maybe, like Bali's saying, keep the same lineup, bench him. Do I think that's going to happen? Probably not. I think Nico is going to give him the time to start. I think, the way he thinks of it, he just wants to keep Uzuni getting as much minutes.
I want to ask you guys this. Is there pressure by the ownership or maybe whatever power it is on Nico to start his DPs?
I think so. Roto has said DPs are here to play. We don't give them contracts to sit on the bench. He's straight up said that. Like when we're talking about.
But what if their form isn't aligning with their pay, Logan?
Right.
That's what I mean.
Right. Yeah,
Is there pressure?
I think every player should be, if they're really honest about saying that there's no lock-in starting position, then I think every player could be subject to sitting on the bench. If you're not playing well,
Stu?
I mean, why not? If we're losing, if he's giving up a lot of goals, you got to try something different.
Fair.
I think just trying to force it, just trying to keep him in there, just to try to get some results. If it's not working, we see he doesn't play and we get a result. So let's keep it trying.
Bali, is it fair to Nico to have pressure from somebody above him to pressure to start certain players?
I mean, yeah, there is pressure. Of course, you spend a lot of money on
Especially
the
in
player.
this league,
Yeah,
DP.
You spend, and then who knows how much he's making a year? I'm pretty sure it's has a couple M's. So next to it, so we'll see. But there's definitely pressure. But at the end of the day, I feel like we should just, AP said it. We have money. There's not a problem. We're good. So we'll just take the L with Uzuni, honestly. I feel like we should take the L with him.
You don't think that you can
12
recover
million down
Uzuni like you recovered Bukhari? Because
it's gonna
Bukhari
be
went through
tough.
it with the fan base. Bukhari
gonna
went
be
through it,
tough.
and then he has this resurrection. He has this new air that he's breathing through his lungs. It's a Bukhari renaissance, is what I said weeks
Yeah.
ago. Is that gonna happen with Myrto? You have to recover him, man. You can't just say it's an L. No, you gotta recover him, Bali.
I mean, hopefully, you know, we'll see. You know, we'll see in time. We'll give it time, but to me, it's looking like it is looking like we definitely overpaid for this player, and we definitely we're taking an L. We're taking a big L for it. But it is what it is. You know, AP said we have money, so I'm back in AP. You know, we have big pockets. Our pockets are fat. You know, we're one of the most one of the most
One of the highest earning, one of the most valuable teams.
highest earning and most valuable teams in the world. We're top 20, I believe. So hey, we have money. We have money. So it is what it is. $20 million drain. We'll take it like nothing.
Oh, Spain goes up. Spain goes up.
What a goal.
2-1.
Whoa,
Right before the half.
Oyarzabal.
VAR.
It was a quality
VAR.
goal. It was you know what? Arsenal might go for that guy, Oyarzabal.
Nah, we don't want him.
They might. You might need him. Might need him.
We
buddy.
don't want him.
But gentlemen, anything else that you would like to add on to the Austin FC topic? I know we spent a good amount of time on the Colorado game and also what's coming up. You know, you got New York, Seattle.
All
And
eyes and all
LAFC
focus.
later.
All eyes and all focus on San Jose. You know, that's
the Open Cup.
Yeah.
That's my focus. You know, I feel like this.
Any kind of response to the people that commented on that video, on that clip, where you were saying that the only way to save his job is with the Open Cup?
Well, it's the truth. You know, I mean, that's the only way he'll save his job in my eyes.
Profe,
You know, winning our first ever cup, I feel like that deserves to finish off the season. So yeah, of course, you know, we deserve it. The fan base deserve it. We deserve to be champions, and we won't win the league. That's for sure. We have no chance to win the league. So why not the U.S. Open?
Profe did back you up. He said that Bali's spitting facts. Why is everybody?
Yeah, man, season's up. Pack it up. You know, you want to make playoffs and what? Be eliminated first round.
Yeah.
Be embarrassed first round. You want to be in the play-in and win the play-in and then make first round and then pay the higher ranked the first team conference team and then lose. Is that what you want?
Now, some questions here from Discord, mate. Some questions real quick. We'll get Logan and Bali to answer these real quick. Taco More Salsa Bar says, should Uzuni ride the bench for the rest of the month?
For the rest of the month, probably not. No, I think if anything, the first game back, if it was me, yeah, bench him and then, bring him in, see what his form's like. But for the rest of the month, no, I don't think so.
Bali's the rest of the month harsh?
Yeah, 100%.
I think so, yeah.
100%. I feel like he should maybe not the rest of the month, but for sure next game he should
At
definitely sit. And if look, it's all about results. If we go against New York and we perform well, Nico's eyes, I'm keeping the same lineup.
Oof,
I'm
okay.
building momentum.
Yeah. Going off of the data.
This
Going
lineup,
off of the data.
is helping me.
Yeah.
I see the threat. The wings are dangerous.
Not to mention Taylor's coming back from injury
Taylor.
too.
So there's competition now. So Uzuni might find himself sitting on the bench for the rest of the month. Yeah, I believe it.
Okay.
You damn right, boy.
Ricardinho, he says, Ricardinho from Discord, he says,
Ricardinho,
who would be a
Ricardinho.
realistic replacement for Nico out of all the coaches that are currently available? Who would it be? Some folks are saying Savarisi right off the bat. I mean, you have Vicente
Savarisi would be
Sanchez,
good.
Postecoglou.
Torren would have been my guy.
Torrent,
Yeah,
yeah.
Where's
but he's already
Ronaldo? He's still with that
Monterrey,
lay, right?
so-
He just said he's not.
Postecoglou?
Ange?
Postecoglou? Ange?
Nah, I wouldn't take Ange. Man,
No.
honestly, I have no idea. No idea right now.
Joey Dubs says, what positions do you feel need to be reinforced in the upcoming transfer window?
Center back for me.
Center back.
I think
Ooh.
so.
CB?
Yeah, I mean, we're
CB?
calling up.
I feel like we
Cito
just
player.
addressed it.
CB?
With Fatok.
No,
Hines?
I feel like we need to go get a quality center back who's fast, who's strong, who has strong character, who could be our future captain maybe one day. That's what we need.
Okay.
And Ruben, like a Ruben time, like Ruben 2.0.
Ruben
Gabrielson.
2.0.
Ruben Gabrielson 2.0. Somebody like that. You don't
Okay.
think so or what?
I mean,
You think our defense is good enough to win an MLS Cup?
I think our defense is good enough to get their act together and really have a solid
get their act
foundation back there.
together.
Get their act together.
But not win the cup. But not win the cup.
This is the same group of guys that we were praising at the beginning of the season. We were saying best defense in the league, best defense, and they had the numbers. They going off of the data, they had it to back them up. Then they had a dip, they had a slip. Where did that form go? That's why I said if they get their act together, this is one of the best defenses in the league.
Get your act together, but then injuries too. Julio seems to be kind of injury prone, right? He goes down. Let's look at the data on that. I'm curious how many times he's been injured. So
how many more weeks are we gonna see those cleats in this table, man? When are we gonna take those off this table? I'm sick and tired of seeing that.
Why does it bother you so much?
No, it does. I'm telling you, it does bother me. At this point,
why are you clapping off camera?
At this point, it is bothering me because I don't want to see those cleats here anymore. I want to see something different.
I really don't understand why it bothers you.
It is
I really don't understand.
I don't know. It bothers me.
Well, if it bothers you so much, I'll take him to my office. I'll take him to the house.
Please.
This is ridiculous.
Please, I would love
They're
you to
just a pair of cleats, bro.
I would love to see them back home and not at the studio, honestly. I'm sorry.
I'm going to take you home.
Hey, yo.
Yeah, take you out of the studio. Yeah. Bangalov says, where does Uzuni fit in? Owen and Danny combo, should it start every game or continue to rotate players in and out? Does constant rotation hurt continuity or build it with all the players?
Uzuni, I think he is hard because, like we say, when Vasquez gets the space to be able to play without him, it looks great. And then I agree with the point. Like it's a valid question because they seem to want to be in the same position, same spacing. So where does he fit in? I think Albania is using him as a winger. Yeah, something that you pointed out, something that we noticed. So it feels like when he's here, he wants to be more central, wants to be more of a striker. I feel like if he could really, really take advantage of that left wing, that would be the best. But it just seems like he just naturally rotates to the middle.
Bali, Austin FC Buckeye, Lisos Verde says, thoughts on Robert Taylor's shift? Personally, thought he was very impressive and confident as hell with the ball.
Yeah.
Was pivotal in running some minutes off the clock and would have had an assist if Vasquez wasn't gassed and hadn't stopped running. Robert Taylor?
No, yeah, I loved it. Taylor's gonna be key for us. He's here with us, and he's back from injury, which is good for us, and just more competition on those wings, which is good for us, man. Good competition is good for us. So I'm happy with this performance. I feel like seeing more from him is gonna help us out, and we'll see. Hopefully, he makes a start. Soon.
Somebody we didn't even get to see that much from. He gets in here basically right away, gets hurt.
Right away, you see something nice.
And then right, as he's able to come back, somebody who's played, on quality teams, played with Messi, you know what I mean? So, to be able to give service there, he's experienced in the league too. It's not like he's just some young guy, but I think you talked about it when he got here, being a pivotal player. So I would love to see more out of him.
No, those were all the questions that we had from social media and from Discord. Shout out to everybody that gives us love there and supports us on the social media platforms, of course, especially like Patreon and Discord. But getting into a little bit of the top flight segment, a little bit of some European topics here. We got some minutes left on the podcast here tonight. I want to talk a little bit about the U.S. men's national team loss to, which I was reminded it's not Turkey anymore. They changed the name. It's like Turkiye, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. It's a different way of saying it. Yeah. Like
I don't know, man.
Czech Republic isn't Czech Republic anymore. It's like Czechia. Something like that. It changed. Things are changing, bro.
Yeah.
Things are changing in
Gulf of America
all the time. Gulf of Mexico, Gulf of America now. Things are changing. Things are changing. Whatever. But anyways, the USA loses, Mexico loses, and the only CONCACAF team to really show up for the region is Canada. Canada. The guys that should be playing hockey. They're really dominating in soccer, apparently. And I got to give credit to Jesse Marsh. Got to give him credit because, Jesse, I'm sorry for what this federation did to you. They embarrassed you. They dragged your name through the dirt.
Really did.
They made you seem like the boogeyman. And all you wanted to do was help, mate. All you wanted to do was help. And now you have Canada in the C League, and the U.S. men's national team has 3 consecutive losses for the first time in a decade, mate. That's the reality right now.
Doing it without Davies, too.
Thoughts, Logan, on this whole CONCACAF circus going on?
Yeah,
Mexico's not saved from this either.
The first thing that stands out to me, the first thing that I saw was, we talked about him on the podcast too when we played Houston, but Jack McGlynn, what a strike, what a player.
Almost did it to Austin.
Oh yeah, the kid has quality. Somebody who's same age as Owen Wolf, and to be performing at that level. I think it was his debut and scores in the first minute. So it's unfortunate they get 2 conceded back to back from from whatever we're calling them, Turkiye, or so they end up getting the loss. But no, I think Canada, like we were mentioning, quality side. But I think Davies is out too. He's kind of one of their more main players, right?
Yes. No, Davies.
I thought he had an ACL. I thought he injured his ACL.
Well, Alex was giving him praise.
Oh, okay. So maybe he is in there.
I
didn't
saw
see that
glimpses of this game. I saw glimpses.
Yeah,
of
I didn't
the
see that
Canada
game.
But yeah,
we're gonna have to see, man. Copa Oro's coming up quick, so we'll see, man.
yeah, we're gonna have to see exactly what this Canadian side is gonna offer at the Gold Cup. I don't have any doubts that they can win it. You know what I'm saying? I think they're a country that, especially in a competition like Copa Oro, where you have sides that are lower quality than a Copa America. You know what I'm saying? It's lower quality sides, and don't be surprised if Canada makes a run in this cup. Don't be surprised. How are you seeing these fools? These guys.
I mean, Canada has been improving, and I feel like Jesse March has done a great job. I've always been a big fan of Jesse, so yeah, I feel like little by little you'll see improvements by them, and there's a lot of Canadian players who are little by little you see them playing in Europe. So there's quality players out there from Canada. You just have to spot them, and they're growing for sure. The U.S., I'm a little bit let down by Poch. I really thought Poch was gonna do a great job there, and it feels like he's struggling right now. So hopefully he picks it up where that's his head, honestly, because I don't think USA is playing around. They want a quality.
You think
team.
if he has a bad Gold Cup, like if they don't win it,
they'll
if
sack
they don't
him.
even make
Before the
Final
World Cup?
Four, before World Cup, that they'll sack their manager?
Yeah, I feel like they will.
Damn,
I feel like they will.
he was supposed to be the guy.
I feel like they will.
Supposed to be
Do
the
you
guy.
think that could happen?
Yeah, the US don't play. I feel like they'll go. I mean, look, it's gonna be the World Cup. It's gonna be in our territory. Let's get that straight.
Yeah.
And the US, they have a shot. If they have a great team, if they put it together and they get a great manager, they could go far. So if Poch doesn't get it together, I feel like he will get sacked.
No, Portugal, Spain. We've been watching it behind the scenes here in the stew. Spain is currently leading 2-1. Now, by the time this pod is out, the game is going to be over. Of course, you got a little bit of a head start, right? You can pick Spain, say that they're going to win because they're currently leading 2-1. But you think Portugal can come back? It's currently halftime.
I don't know. To me, the Spain team is very, very strong right now, and I feel like just all around defense, midfield, and forwards, all of them are a threat. So I feel like they got it. I feel like Spain will win.
You think they're going to see it through?
Yeah, there'll be too much for them. I feel like we'll see a 3-1, 4-1.
Now, if they win it, Lamine Yamal, Ballon d'Or, is it done? Is it over?
Man.
There's an argument earlier where Alex
yeah.
was bringing up Brazil, and bro, come on, it's not Rafinha. It's not Rafinha.
It's not Rafinha. It's definitely between Dembele and
Has to be,
and Yamal. I'm not sure. It's tough. It's very, very tough. I feel like
does
Dembele,
Cole Palmer come into the conversation?
Hey, yo.
Because Brian was telling me Cole this, Cole that.
I mean, Cole Palmer doesn't even deserve to even be named top 10 best players in the young players, even in the Premier League.
Okay.
So
Go ahead.
But man, that's tough. I'm not sure. I feel like Dembele deserves it, honestly.
UCL.
Yamal, if Yamal wins, it would be crazy though, because
It would be
such
crazy.
a young player. I don't think we've ever seen something like that. Somebody at such a young age win a Ballon d'Or, being the best player in the world, literally.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But didn't Yamal say if the world wants the Ballon d'Or to be decided in the match where they played France, then let's do it. He called his shot, and he was he was a force in that game as well. It's not like he was hiding. He was a force in that game, and they beat the lights out of France. And France did come back. They clawed into the match, but Yamal called his shot, and he banked it off the backboard damn near.
Yeah,
so I'm saying
it's tough. Dembele deserves it also. They've had a great season, and he's been key for them. After struggling with Barcelona and being doing great in PSG and winning the Champions League.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's honestly it's a tight race, honestly.
Dembele. Yamal is to me he's bringing that aura back to footy. I feel like that identity,
swag.
the swag was missing. I feel like everybody got like robotic for a little bit, but he's kind of bringing that swagger back to football, and I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Yamal, even though he is a Barcelona player. I'm putting that to the side because I paid the price with Messi. I paid the price, and I'm not gonna commit the same mistake twice in one lifetime. I'm gonna enjoy this kid, and I'm seeing him since a very early age. So I want to see what he can. And Cristiano came out and he said similar stuff. He said he was like, we need to let this kid cook.
Yeah. And he's so young, so I mean, you would like to think that he has a lot of football left in him. You know what I mean? Like, what a career already. I mean, they showed his stats like through 100 games, and like the kid's going off. There's no joke. Whether or not he's gonna win Ballon d'Or is kind of hard to say.
And who's to say in this crazy world that Lamine Yamal in the future doesn't sign with Real Madrid? Who's to say?
That would never happen.
That's what people said about Luis
would never-
Figo.
that would
That's
never
what people said about Luis Figo.
Nah,
and did Luis
that
Figo
would never
join
happen.
Real Madrid? Who's to say? 'Cause
Barcelona would never let that happen.
Lamine
honestly.
Yamal. Lamine
Isn't it like
Yamal's
a $1
father.
billion release clause?
Lamine Yamal's father
I
was
think so.
a Real
They pay
Madrid
that?
fan. Lamine Yamal's father was a Real Madrid fan.
Okay, but who cares?
Who's to say? You cannot tell me that in this crazy world that Lamine Yamal could play for Real Madrid one day. Who's to say?
Nah.
he's
he
worth
won't
like
do it.
500 M's.
He won't do it.
We got 600.
He won't do it.
You think?
He won't do it.
Half a billy.
Yeah,
We'll
they
see.
won't do it.
Half a
We'll see.
billion.
The only team that I feel like can afford Yamal and could ever maybe
This-
buy him would be PSG.
But the thing is, guys, Lamine Yamal's not going to sign a 20-year contract with Barca. He'll sign a 5-year deal or whatnot.
He will, he
He's very young.
Of course.
By
Yeah.
the time this long contract ends, we'll be 24, 25.
No,
Where is your next club,
no,
son?
of course. Look,
Where's your next club,
like,
son?
like you said, he'll sign a 5-year deal, and then whenever that's done, he'll sign another 5-year deal, and he'll stay there for the rest of his life.
You don't know. You don't
City,
know
get in
what
there.
holds on in the
Yeah.
future.
If he wants to go to, he could go to the city. I mean, if he wants to try the Premier League, but I feel like he'll end his career in
I'm
Barca.
just saying,
He's
I'm just
Barca
saying.
It feels like
in
that.
and
Yeah.
out.
I'm just saying.
It's in his heart, man.
It
feels like that.
happened with Luis Figo. I remember everybody was saying, no way Neymar left Barca. These things happen all the time in footy, man.
Maybe Saudi if they pay him a lot of money, but that's it.
Madrid has money, and you know
After he
this.
wins like 5 Champions Leagues with Barca, then he'll probably leave.
All right, man. Now, Ange sacked from Tottenham.
Ange?
I kind of want to get your take on that real quick.
Man,
Where's
I need-
Primo? Then?
I'm happy. I'm happy that. I mean, honestly, I don't really care. You know, I mean,
It was a bit harsh.
who cares? I mean, they had a horrible season. They were battling relegation. You know, they were at the bottom. So who
So
cares
was
about
Man
that
United,
team?
but they're keeping Amorim. They didn't win
Yeah,
anything,
Who cares about that
and
team?
they're letting him build.
Tottenham's actually kind of smart for sacking him because they knew that he was trash. So, you know, it is what it is. Sorry for that guy. We'll probably see him in MLS. Who knows?
Dang.
Logan, your
DC
thoughts?
United needs a coach.
Hey, I would like to see Ange at
Ange.
DC United.
Come to the MLS, Ange.
Ange versus Dean, DC United versus Charlotte.
That would be nice.
That'd be a
Honestly,
good
that would be
one.
nice. Come
That'd
to
be
the
a good one.
MLS.
Now, I really do like what Dean Smith is doing because he's kind of trying to recruit Jamie Vardy.
Yeah.
He is
See,
trying
that
to
would be a
recruit
great
Yeah, I
move.
saw that.
Jamie Vardy. But Logan, your thoughts on this Tottenham situation? I mean, Ange Postecoglou sacked by Tottenham after winning Europa, but you can't deny the fact that in league their form was atrocious.
Yeah, and it goes to show you that winning a cup doesn't necessarily save you your job. You know what I mean? I think, like you're talking about, you mentioned a couple pods back, like if some of those other bottom teams had any kind of run or any kind of streak of good games in the Premier League, like we're talking about potentially getting relegated. You know what I mean? So the form in the league, definitely not that good. I think they were eyeing Thomas Frank. Y'all were talking about him being
Yeah, they're eyeing Thomas.
Yeah,
Frank.
I think Thomas
so-
Frank's he'll be the next
And it
manager.
kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
it makes sense
he's
for
a great
Thomas
coach,
Frank.
and he's ready for the next step.
And I saw that Brentford is eyeing a coach from the championship, ready
Okay.
to replace Thomas. So everybody's ready to move if
Yeah.
it does happen.
Josh.
Watch out.
Josh.
No,
Josh.
no. I
Josh.
said championship.
Oh, okay.
Championship. No, but I wish best of luck to Thomas Frank. He's a coach that on the podcast I've given praise before.
Best of luck, Thomas.
I like Thomas Frank.
Yeah, I like him too,
I
honestly.
think he's a good coach. And he's also due for like a big move.
Yeah, and
He's
he's,
due for a
he's
big
also
move.
due for a big little check. You know, take care of him. You know,
Daniel Levy.
a couple million a year. You know, take care of Thomas.
Daniel Levy. Now, I do want to touch up a little bit on the TST tournament that is going on right now. One of the last topics here tonight. Now, on the women's side, we had a horse in the race, Austin Rise FC. They were representing our city here in Austin, Texas, in a tournament that was worth $1 million. If you won it,
That's big
You-
bucks.
if you won it, you
$1
took $1 million
million.
bucks.
That's big bucks right
Now,
there.
for a team like Austin Rise, $1 million
That's-
would have been life-changing.
Yeah.
We're talking about the club.
Wow.
The club. They are a team that plays in the WPSL. They play at House Park. They have some really good players. And for this tournament, they made a huge investment in coaching staff and in players. Now, in the group stage, they had a good showing. They started off their campaign against the U.S. Women's, which was full of legends of the game. Yeah. I'm talking about legends, people that have won chips for the U.S. Women's side, and they really stood their ground against them. They really held their own. They were the dominant team against the U.S. Women's, but it was heavy rain, and the U.S. Women's really showed their experience because literally their goals came from the smallest of chances. But you give these ladies an inch, and they'll give you a freaking goal. Yeah. Now, Austin Rise, they had 3 chances, mate, to score the easy go-ahead goal. They didn't do it. They paid the price. They lost game 1. Game 2, they turned it around, beat the lights out of Angel City, which was a NWSL team. They were there representing them from Angel City or whatnot. They beat them 5-0. Final match day of the group stage. You had to win it. They beat Process FC in target time 2-1 to go to the next round. And in the quarterfinals, they faced Bumpy Pitch FC. They lost.
Wow,
controversial.
Come on.
Controversial. They should have been given a red card. Should have been given a red card. It is what it is. I'm really proud of this Austin Rise team because they're a low-level WPSL team on the pyramid. But they really showed that they can hang against some top dogs.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Honestly, it's great news. You know, I mean, they showed a fight, and you know they came up short, but who knows? Is this like a every year thing?
Yeah, every year.
They're running back. Sure. They're running back next year, and hopefully we'll see them in the finals. $1 million.
We should go.
They better train. They better train like the whole summer, every single month, for $1 million. That could change their whole club around.
We should go next year. We should go next year because it's actually a lot of fun. Pat McAfee is there. It's in Cary, North Carolina.
Oh, wow.
Top Bend 90 is there, so we can chill with them. We can be hanging out with them.
Has anyone won like the couple years? Has it been like a every year thing, or this is the first year? Or?
No, this is the second or third year, I believe. So last year, La Bombonera FC, they won it, the grand prize for the $1 million. But you see Pat McAfee there. He's going on to the semifinals with his team, CONCACAF. So a lot of big stars go out there, mate. Like Nani was out there.
Let's go.
Tactical manager has his own team that they have out there. He filled it with Brazilian players that used to play, not like big names, but like some, some like regular names or whatnot. But a lot of fun. This TST stuff looks like a lot of fun. I'd love to go check it out. America went out there and
they got destroyed.
Boys got battered at the group stage. Layun took a couple of old America players out there, like Aguilar and some other names or whatnot. They got battered in the group stage. Drip FC has a team of like a bunch of like content creators and TikTokers or whatnot. So it's like a little, it's like a TikTok cup. It's nothing but like social media. Whenever somebody scores a goal or they win, everybody runs to the center of the field with their phones, trying to get that story. It's a really fun. It's kind of like the Kings League. Okay. You know what the Kings League is? Yeah. It's kind of like the Kings League. Okay, it's maybe one of the best ways to describe it. It's 7v7, a lot of fun. When you go into target time, the longer you go, the more players that they take out. So if you go like 2 minutes without scoring a goal, they take somebody out until it's 2v2.
Okay.
So it's it's kind of fun. And you had a bunch of legends in there, like Hope Solo, legendary U.S. women's goalkeeper. But Logan, any thoughts on TST, mate?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great platform. I mean, I know we didn't advance and, obviously we don't get a chance at that million anymore. But, what a platform. I think it gives a lot of recognition to those leagues and those teams, those players. I think, it is fun, right? It is for competition, but, it's fun to see, like you're saying, describing that kind of that play style where, taking people out. So, making it just more interesting, something fun to watch. So, I definitely think even just being on that stage, getting the results, just getting those people's names out there. I mean, Austin Rise, anything Austin, I love it. Love to support it.
Exactly, mate. And like I said, if you didn't know about Austin Rise and you found out about them through this TST tournament from the coverage that they've had on social media, or some of the coverage that we've given them on our platform, following their campaign at TST 25, you can check them out at House Park. They play there. They actually had a league game while their team was also at TST. So like I said, they made an investment into their roster. So they had a team at TST and they had a team stay back home and play their league match, which they won, if I'm not mistaken, by multiple goals. I think it was 3-0.
Yeah, they're pretty nice.
It was 4-0.
They're pretty nice in the league. So
like I said, check out this Austin Rise side. The women's WPSL team here in Austin, Texas. They won 3-0, like I said. So, soccer for everybody out there. If you like Austin FC, you're checking them out. If you're down to check out some women's WPSL soccer, they're available to you at House Park. I actually, if I'm not mistaken, a couple years back, 2 years ago or a year ago, I had a season ticket for them. just to support. You know, it was only like $30, but I just wanted to just support a little bit. Portugal tied it.
2-2.
Bruno Fernandes. Oh, offside.
Yeah.
VAR.
All right, y'all. But gentlemen, let's wrap it up so we can enjoy the last of this Portugal versus Spain match.
sir.
Anything else you guys want to add on?
Happy, excited, and ready for New York.
Oh,
Yeah. Ready
Okay.
for New York at
Logan?
home. But I looked into youngest Ballon d'Or winner, R9, 21 years old. So I don't know if that weighs anything into it. Yeah.
Youngest Ballon d'Or winner is 29?
R9.
R9?
Or 21. He was 21.
Oh, he was 21. R9 was 21. Wow.
Lamine 17.
It
It's a
could happen.
chance.
It could happen.
Maybe
It could
this,
happen. But all right, gentlemen, let's get out of here. We'll be back next week to analyze and discuss, debate everything that goes on in that New York Red Bulls game and anything else that happens. FCito's about to kick off later on today, so we'll probably talk about them midweek or something. Hopefully the boys get to them. They need it. They need it as well. All right. Ciao.